Welcome to today's reading of what messages do your ancestors have for you. We have three piles to choose from. We have Group 1 with the Everyday Witch Tarot and the Lepidolite. We have Group 2 with the Crow Tarot and the Petrified Wood. And we have Group 3 with the Runic Tarot and the Satin or Selenite. Feel free to pause the video and take a moment to see which pile you're most drawn to. You can always take a moment to meditate on which pile if you're having troubles deciding. We'll get into the video. Welcome Group 1 to today's reading of what is your message from your ancestors, or what message do they have for you. If you chose the Everyday Witch Tarot and the Lepidolite, then this is your reading for today. I'm hoping everybody's been well. Alright. We're taking all of these, so... Whoa, this is a lot of cards. Okay. Just gonna do it. Alright, so we've had a bunch of cards jump out here. We've got the Nine of Pentacles. You get like a energy of feeling quite comfortable where you're at this current point in time. I don't know if you're going to be able to see that. Just move that out a little bit more. Turning into the Ten of Pentacles. Okay, so I'm getting that you've been doing lots of work and your work is coming to fruition, where you were quite comfortable, but now it's at a place where you really want for nothing, in a sense. During this time, there's like that learning of discernment of who you can trust and what your boundaries are and maintaining that, but I feel like you actually do it quite well, like really well. Although I do wonder sometimes if you question some of the people that you have around in your closer immediate circle, like getting immediate circle of friends. So yeah, and I think the way that you'll be able to tell is like who works in with you and who works with you, who has your back and who is helpful, like who is it's always like a funny thing for me to try to explain, because we shouldn't do something with an expectation of gaining something in return. But it's really just about the fact that if you time after time are, you know, doing something for a friend and it's never returned at all, like just one thing, like if you're the only, I guess like if it turns into like a one-sided relationship where you're the only person giving and never receiving, then that is like a quite obvious thing. So I wonder with this person if they sort of give a little bit here and there, just enough to sort of keep things going, or just enough to keep you around. And then it's a funny message I'm getting. The truth is that you're a queen, and you'll be successful whether they're around or not, and you'll be really happy whether they're around or not. Essentially, you're the star. So this is actually really quite quick. What do we have here with the star? I'm getting something about you are magical, you are divine, and maybe it's just the fact that you're in touch with your intuition or spirit at this point. Yeah, okay. Okay, so that's everything that I've got for that first row that popped out. So now we'll work with the second. We're going to go front to back or back to front? Back to front. Okay, cool. I'm just hearing it's all about the perspective, and it's learning to put the boundaries in place. You know, it's just cycles throughout life, and sometimes we win and sometimes we lose. And I feel like maybe in this case with this particular person you lose. Maybe not like going forward, but maybe you already have. But there's also that like taking a leap of faith to, or having the courage to do something that you've wanted to do for a long time. Something that like lights you up. I wonder if there's some sort of competition between you and this friend, even if it's not on your side, even if it's just on their side, where you both have like similar passions and interests, and your friend is sort of unknowingly, maybe it is knowingly, I'm not sure, but you're unknowingly becoming their competition. And it's, you know, if you're competing with each other, are you even friends? But whatever this is, like, I don't even feel like you're worried about competing either. It's just like you just need to follow your passion, or whatever it is that you're interested in that lights you up. So there's also a sense here of like you're just starting out and you're not really sure how to go about things, and maybe like a little bit overwhelmed of what path to take, with what way to go with whatever this passion is, turning into like a business or something like that. The passion might not be a business. It's just one example of what it could be. But there's also a sense of needing to invest a little bit here as well, whatever it is. So I feel like in the early days, it's really time and energy. We usually don't want to invest too much pentacles, but I mean, you also know your situation better than anybody else as well, and we all have that responsibility to make our own decisions and have discernment. So, although I also feel like someone that you've seen do this before has laid out like a really good map for you, and you probably don't really need to try too hard to work out what way to go, other than like essentially you can use it as a blueprint. You don't have to like copy what other people have done, but you can see like general functioning practices that have actually turned out to just be like a good blueprint, no matter what it looks like on the outside. And then it'll sort of be that energy later on of setting the foundations and deciding what you're going to do with it, where you want to go with it, and then sort of like putting all the finishing touches on everything later. And things like the aesthetic, the colors, the fonts and the formatting and all that sort of stuff would come later. The other side of it is that I feel like some of you may be having trouble choosing between maybe a career or a calling and a partner of some kind. Maybe you just don't really have enough time, and you're being called to step into your energy of following your calling, and you've been putting it on the back burner while spending a lot of time with this person as well. So maybe you feel like you'll lose them if you do focus on yourself and follow your calling or follow your path, whatever that looks like. So maybe it's the other way around. Maybe you feel like you'll lose your calling if you do step into that relationship energy where you are to a level required to invest more time into it than what you previously had as it progresses. Or you could already be in a relationship and then you start this new thing, and all of a sudden it's taking time away from what you would have originally spent with your person. Yeah. Definitely get the sense here of being scared about potential loss when things were so good too. So it's like if only you could have your cake and eat it too. But I'm not really sure how to go about this. Let's see. I feel like there's got to be something else. They're pointing out that if you can look at where you are right now is a really good indicator of everything that you've already been doing and the balance that you've already had in place, to, like, that's a good, if you look at your track record, you know, what is it, where you are now is, I don't know if it's the energy that you want to embody or if it's that you're looking at, like, how you're spending your time currently is actually quite good. It seems to be that you're, like, getting ahead here, that you're, like, thinking about things that maybe haven't happened yet, or could happen, or yeah. The other, I'm also getting something here too. It's about, like, maybe there is some sort of loss in whichever way it goes, and maybe it is something we were quite attached to, and we really didn't want that for ourselves in that situation to play out that way. Ultimately, if there is some sort of loss, you've got to remember that you still have yourself, and you are the most important person in your life, or the most important thing in your life. So whether it was a person or a career or some sort of passion that you were following that hasn't quite worked or panned out at this point in time, it's okay to, like, feel sad and be in the moment and, you know, process things and take that bit of downtime. Like, you know, you validate yourself and everything. Take a bit of rest, and then, like, don't get too sucked into it. Like, it's one of those things that you might need to just start putting more energy back into yourself, back into the things that you enjoy, back into your passions, so that it makes it a little, it's not even just so it makes it a little bit easier moving on, but I feel like, you know, without that as like a covert contract, specific outcome attachment that you're wanting, if you actually are just doing that, then it sort of inadvertently makes it easier to move on anyway. But it's like when you're focusing on you and all the good things that you're doing, and like the good connections around you, and yeah, all of that, I think that in itself, you can still take the 2 cups left and go have a party on your own. Like, it's okay. Anyway, but I guess that's all about that perspective there too. So there's just going to be like times in life where sometimes we're up, sometimes we're down. It doesn't mean anything good or bad's happen. We don't have to come from a place of ego as per se about whether it's necessarily even really that reflective of us, unless you definitely know that you've had some sort of hand in whatever this outcome is. Like, maybe you've done something wrong. I don't really get the feeling that that's the case though. Yeah. Okay, so that's everything that I'm getting for the cards. So I'm just going to take a message from the paper, the paper message, a scratched up piece. I feel like I need a better name for it, but I also need a better container for it as well. So, I mean, one thing at a time. It just says intent isn't the same as a track record of action. Okay, cool. So we were sort of talking about that. Yeah. What else have we got? We are going to take a card from the Barbieri Zodiac Oracle, just to try to get a feel for the energy. I wonder if some of you maybe like have a little bit of anxiety, or maybe not anxiety, that doesn't even really seem right. It's like, I can't tell if it's like a little bit of catastrophizing, or if it's like just thinking about the future and just getting a bit too carried away with it. Here we go, we've got one jumping up. Okay, so we ended up with the air element. Yeah, which is like mental energy anyway. Okay. Do we want to take another card? Okay. that's everything that I've got for the cards. But well, before we wrap up this video or this group, I'll actually take a moment to talk a little bit about the Lepidolite. Or it can be a stone of transformation. So I feel like even though you're starting out in a reasonably good place at the moment, or at least it's definitely not as bad as it could be, it's still, I think, a stone that would be helpful to have during this period where there is like a lot of this mental activity and thinking about the future and all the different things that could play out and happen. And maybe this, if you've got someone around you that you're not quite sure about, then that in itself can be enough to sort of get us stuck in our heads a little bit. So yeah, if you're looking for a crystal to work with, that would be a great one for this time. Otherwise, I would just try to do what you can to stay grounded. Yeah. Get outside, do healthy things for yourself, do things that you like, be comfortable, take still, quiet time without distractions and screens to get a moment to yourself and be in the present moment. A great way can be to just close your eyes and breathe and just see how you feel afterwards. Even if like nothing happens, that's fine. Doesn't matter if you have thoughts, you just breathe, close your eyes, let them come and go, and go with that. But group one, this was a quick one. This is everything that I have for today's reading. So thank you for joining me. Thank you for all the like, comments, and subscribers. It really helps the channel out. And I will leave you to it. I'll see you in another video. Okay, welcome group 2 to today's reading. Today's reading is a message from your ancestors. If you chose the Petrified Wood and the Crow Tarot, then this is your reading. I'm hoping everybody's doing well. I know that the weather here is pretty nice at the moment, so I'm making the most of that. Oh, I don't need... Okay. What am I doing? Okay, so we have the Emperor, the Queen of Pentacles, what's that? The Nine of Swords, the Four of Cups, and Hierophant, or Hierophant. Okay, I get the sense for some of you that you're starting out in a really good, strong position and you've met your Queen of Pentacles, so whatever that counterpart is, the gender is irrelevant. Maybe they are slightly more feminine in different ways, but outside of that, yeah, gender's irrelevant. And maybe it's actually ended in a Nine of Swords outcome here, where you are feeling depressed, burdened, sad, a little bit of mental anguish there, things just basically haven't panned out the way that they were going to, right? Maybe you're feeling a bit hurt, or maybe for some of you get a little bit triggered, or these wounds bring up triggers. And I do also get the feeling too that you're doing better than you think you are, in a sense of like emotional, I want to say embodiment. I guess what actually comes to mind though is you aren't giving yourself enough credit for how far you've come, and maybe you're a little bit bored with the process seeming so monotonous, or forever having to do this like shadow work or healing stuff or something like that. But you're actually not doing too bad at all, and there's more there ready for you when you're ready to take it and do a little bit more work. So yeah, this is not girls. Maybe this sort of ending of a relationship that I'm picking up on, it might keep in mind that it might not be an ending of a relationship. We'll get to the other side of it like in a minute. But if it is the end of a relationship for those that applies to. You could just get the feeling of like another one bites the dust, like here we go, been here and done this before, and like what's in store next, like is it just the same sort of thing? But also I do wonder for some of you if you have a new person actually coming in where you are in your Emperor energy and they're in their Queen of Pentacles energy, and you might actually weirdly really work together well, like better than expected, like you didn't think that it was possible, I guess. That in itself could bring on that sense of like trauma or triggers, or maybe even you don't have to have trauma or triggers, but like maybe you've just had not great relationships play out before, and that in itself was enough for you to maybe freak out a little bit when you think about this connection and moving forward with it. And maybe you see some of the shiny sparkly thing come past, or another person, and when that happens, you feel inclined to leave all the work that you've done and all the things that are important to you and your fulfillment, to sort of take a leap over towards that shiny thing, and you know, see if there could be something there when maybe you've actually already got someone right under your nose that's actually quite good and that you hadn't realized. But also, something else here. Maybe you get the sense of, yeah, I feel like there's some sort of self-sabotage here with this Four of Cups, where it's like if you essentially are going to reach for that extra cup that you don't already have, and you're going to risk losing the other three that you do have, it's like, is anything really gained? Have you just entered back into the same old cycle that you've been perpetuating for a while? And it's, I get the sense here that at the end of this you turn out a little bit wiser, or you've learnt some lessons from it. Maybe you can pass this information on to other people. Okay, now, so we've got a different reading coming through here as well. We must have a few different scenarios playing out within this group. I do feel like for some of you, you're in a stage of life where you've been doing things a set way and they've been really working for you for a while, to the point where you can have more than the necessities. You can have adornments and, you know, things that, what is it, like luxury embellishments, and that's like accessories and that sort of stuff. I don't really know how else to say it. Maybe you are quite comfortable and you like your spot. Maybe you had to fight for it to get to where you are, and you wear it like a badge of honor and you're quite proud of yourself. You're quite protective over what you have, and you know, you everyone around you knows where they stand, and nobody really challenges you. And I guess it's probably taken you, like I said, quite a bit of work to get to where you are, and it's actually paid off. So for some of you, I feel like you may even be a little bit scared to lose this position that you've gained. For some of you, I feel like this is a person in your life, okay, where this is not actually you, this is a person in your life is like this. Where, yeah, they might be quite protective, a little bit defensive, because they're just trying to maintain everything they've built. Okay, I am getting a sense here that with this person that they don't have the best level of discernment, where they go too far, you know, leaning into, I guess, a sense of paranoia, where they may think that everyone is out to get them, or everyone around them, you know, is just trying to come at them from a different angle, or has a hidden agenda or ulterior motives or something like that. I'm getting a great sense of pride here and ego. It's really like they're quite fine where they are, and I don't think anybody's actually coming for them, but they still feel this need to defend their position and their honor and valor and where they're at. A weird little thing that I was getting is that if you are trying to get this person on side, if you can just acknowledge or recognize that they have worked really hard to get to where they are, that in itself might have them calm down a little bit. Yeah, the other side of it is like showing that you're demonstrating that you aren't out for their position or whatever it is that they think they're trying to guard there. Yeah, I feel like you're the Queen of Pentacles here, and then to some of them, just the mere fact that you could be a potential equal here, it might not be exactly equal, but a potential equal could be enough to make them feel threatened, because you're actually, some of you are actually accomplished in what you do. And maybe this person's used to being the provider or wants to be the provider, but here you are doing the providing. And that in itself leads back to this same place here of, you know, the inner mental frustrations and a little bit of sadness and depression and some sort of hurt. Like, I wonder if this person has almost been, the Emperor here, has almost been a bit too rash at times when they haven't really needed to, because you have all the things that you need and want, and you're not actually, like, you've got nothing to gain from this. You just like the person. And I wonder if their behaviour, even if they don't do anything outright, is enough for you to say, well, you don't trust me, and that's upsetting. And what else is there? Something else I've missed here. I also sort of wonder for some of you if this is your person's energy where they're at internally, and they're actually thinking about all these things and feeling all the feelings, and maybe they know deep down that you really are good and you really aren't trying to take anything from them, and there's no real need for them to be on the defense, but it's just like their repeated patterns and behaviors lead them to this place, or their subconscious beliefs lead them to this place where they feel like they need to protect everything, and instead they accidentally end up cutting things down that mean a lot to them. And it's just like, how many times can we do this? This is a really bizarre reading today, because it's like every possible person it could be. And so for some of you, I feel like this is a relationship that's been ongoing, and it's on and off, and you guys keep coming back to each other, and it's like, how many times can we repeat this cycle? How many times can we do this? And for whatever reason, you seem to come out of it unscathed every time. Maybe you know so well when to pick your moments to leave and when to pick your battles and whatnot. But essentially at the end, you're going to learn from this, and you're going to be, I guess, gain some sort of wisdom from it anyway. For any of you that are like in touch with your intuition, or even if you don't feel like you are, I feel like it's good for everybody to practice and test their intuition anyway. But I feel like maybe some of you haven't really been paying attention to it in regards to the situation, and that there is a lot of higher learning and knowledge there that is trying to be passed down that you haven't been present for, because you've kind of been caught up in all of this that's going on. So some of you really need to make a little bit of time for, well, I guess, quiet time and downtime and resting and peace, and maybe meditation, if you will, or grounding or something like that, where you can shut everything down, turn off the technology, put the screens down, and just breathe. You don't have to do anything, like stop cleaning the house, like just if you've got a little bit of time to yourself, just sit there and look out the window and just see if anything comes your way. They're highlighting here that the aura of this crow is really important. It is yellow, and yellow can be that self-empowerment and willpower and confidence and self-worth as well. So, yeah. This is really bizarre. I'm getting, for some of you, it's like the self-worth is wrapped up in being this like wise person, and so you almost don't want to falter or do anything wrong, because you're, what is it, the reputation, like you feel like the reputation may be at risk, and you just want to maintain this impeccable reputation. So you're scared to like step out on, when I say step out on this person, that's not what I mean. Like you might be scared to leave this person or turn this person down or end this cycle in some way, shape or form, because of how it may reflect on you. But honestly, it's like, it doesn't have to be good or bad. Things can just not work out and still be okay. I'm also getting something else here about being the victor. Like you'll basically come out on top. It's weird, but because I don't feel like you guys are fighting. Maybe it's just like a sad ending sort of thing. Maybe it's not even about actually being a victor in regards to like competition with another person. It could just be being the victor in the fact that like maybe when you leave this, whatever this is, you can actually step into your like, I don't know, you can come out on top. Like maybe you think you're going to be really sad and depressed, and then you start to spend a little bit of time on your own and you start to do things that you like and it lights you up, and you didn't even realize that was possible. And some of you will embody this Hierophant energy of where you're meant to be at. Okay. And another message is don't doubt any of your wisdom. And it seems a bit contrary, right? Because we've been told to do things differently, but not doubt our wisdom. Maybe you already know and understand this, and it's just not really played out yet, or it's still in the process. For those of you that it seemed like a new person coming in and there was sort of that message of it potentially triggering like some sort of trauma, or maybe it created a little bit of anxiety around the connection and the fact it could be good, and you need to watch out for a little bit of self-sabotaging energy here. And I guess, you know, honor the things that you have in front of you that are really good, and don't take them for granted. It could be a case that you two end up coming together through wisdom, and it ends up being one of the things that really keeps you together. Like it ends up being the key to your relationship. So yeah. Okay. The other thing is I'm being called to mention with the petrified wood, it's like good things take time, and like good solid foundations take time, but they're also really grounded too, okay? So yeah, time, being grounded, using the wisdom that we've got, trying to be grateful for the things that we have, even when it doesn't, you know, maybe it's not grateful for the day we've had because of the way it's panned out, but maybe in life we can look at the list of things and go, I know that this can be a monotonous task sometimes, right? But this is honestly, like, if you've got some quiet downtime and this is something that you can do, but sincerely do it. Don't just do it because it's a chore. If you're not going to do it sincerely, there's probably no point doing it. So I don't want to waste anyone's time. But look at the things like, are my basic needs met? Like, you know, do I have shelter? Do I have food, water? Do I have access to a doctor if my health isn't great? Things like that. What's next is, you know, have I got safe people around me? Do I have people outside of myself or my family that I can maybe not necessarily rely on, but there's people around enough, right, that I can commune with and whatnot. And, you know, can I get by without everything being a struggle? And yeah, I don't know. I think you guys get the gist of what I'm trying to say, right? You know, things like exercise, like I feel like a lot of good healthy habits in life, if they're not born out of necessity, they'll come from periods of time in our lives where we are quite settled and we're in a sort of safe enough space that we can quit smoking, or we can take up exercise because we're in a stable enough place that, you know, everything else isn't so overwhelming that another thing would really push us over the edge. So, yeah. Okay, what else do we want to do here? Okay, we're going to take a card from the Barbieri Zodiac Oracle. And this should help us, I guess, with an underlying energy of the reading. Cancer. I don't take reversals. It's unless I'm called to. So, not to mention the fact that I think I just had half that pile upside down. Yeah, Cancer here can be like being protective and having all the feelings. Yeah. I'm getting a couple things here. You know, there's that. Are you safe enough to express yourself, like in an environment where you're expressing your needs and your feelings is actually going to be acknowledged and not a possible detriment to your position where you're at and who's around you and everything like that. The other side of it is like, are you able to actually be your true self? Are you able to be exactly who you are and be well received? Yeah. You might, there might be just a lot of defenses going on here. There might be, like, on your part, not even anybody else. It could be both people. I'm sure there are situations where you can flip it and it is your person. But this feels like it's for you, where you're just in a stage of being very protective of the nest at this point in time. Even if it's not a nest, it'll be yourself or your emotions or your vulnerability here, where you are really in an energy of trying to protect yourself. And yeah, maybe things have been quite deep or rocky or something like that. Okay, that's everything that I'm getting for these cards. We're going to take a paper message. We have, be kind to everyone you meet, especially those you love. Okay, so that's everything that I have for today's reading as a message from your ancestors, group 2. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for the likes, comments, and subscribers. It's all really helpful to the channel, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. I'll see you in another video. Thank you. Hey, welcome group 3 to today's reading. This is a message from your ancestors. If you chose the Selenite or the Satin Spa and the Runic Tarot, then this is your reading. I'm hoping everybody's doing well. A couple things are going this way. No, it's not that way. It's okay. So we have the Seven of Pentacles, the Queen of Pentacles, the Magician, the Nine of Pentacles, the Queen of Swords, the Eight of Pentacles, the Wheel of Fortune, and the High Priestess. And there's a lot of Pentacles here. Okay, so I feel like it's been a time where you've been like slowly working on things and just seeing like what sort of happens, and with no real expectations. Maybe you're just sort of starting out, and it's a case where it's maybe like a hobby or an interest that you're really playing with, and you know, there is a potential there to make money with it. Even though this is Pentacles, I feel like for some of you, you may be like a bit more intuitively in tune, and maybe whatever it is that you're working with is actually something that you would like to capitalize on, and maybe there is a sense here of, I don't want to say you're like not doing it for the right reasons, right? Because I don't know, like I'm not you, I'm just passing on the message here. I guess what I'm trying to say though is that maybe we can slip into an energy where it's quite easy to let the monetary value and the security and the good things that financial abundance can bring our way. You know, sometimes that can take over a little bit, and we just need that little bit of like grounded time to come back to ourselves and our purpose or calling or whatever it is for you that you're doing. You don't have to be this like intuitive spiritual person. It could be something that started out as a hobby and you really enjoyed it, and now it's become more about the money than what it was. For others of you, it's just a sense of investment, whether, not sure if that's into relationships, but it's like you've been investing in something, okay? Anyway, I do feel like it does actually pay off, and because it does pay off, and you've gotten quite good at what you were doing, there is a sense here of trying to becoming attached to the outcome, and I don't know, just trying to push things that way towards what you have in sights. But it's not just that. There's I feel like getting, like, maybe you did work at it for quite a while and you invested in it, and it actually turns out to be like a really good thing, and maybe you're in your power, and maybe you're really comfortable, and maybe you've got good boundaries, and maybe you're in a position where you've got more freedom than you've ever really had before, and I don't know, maybe you want for nothing, maybe you've got all the luxuries or the adornments and embellishments, like material possessions. Yeah, I do really feel like you're in your energy. And I guess for those of you that have that more intuitive spiritual calling as per se, it's really like getting back in touch with what that even is at bare basics to begin with. So like, you know, leaning into ourselves, living in alignment, acting with integrity, having compassion for others, being a channel, and yeah. Maybe you have to go through a period of time of, you know, being attached to that outcome, doing a little bit of work on yourself before you can sort of get back into it, to sort of try to maintain what you had so that you don't lose too much of it. And there is almost a feeling here of being a little bit defensive. Maybe not defensive isn't the right word. I don't know if I should say guarded, or just like, yeah. No, they're saying it is defensive. Okay. I am getting an energy too of there's like a specific part of life that has been lost. And yeah, that's the part of life that's been lost, is maybe that part where it was like a joyous thing, or whatever the like real, whatever made you start it. Think back to what made you start it. Think back to what made you like it, or like why you followed it. Think back to why you invested in whatever this situation is. Yeah. The other side of it is too, is that I feel for some of you, when you've gotten to this point, and maybe as you're going through the motions of it all, it's like you're so focused on all the stuff that's going on for you and whatnot, that maybe other people have at different times tried to undermine you. Undermine you somehow, and I'm not really sure what that looks like, but I feel like people in general know not to mess with you. So maybe it wasn't in this like recent past, but it's just things that have played out early days, or maybe it's the way that you carry yourself. I actually think for a lot of you, it's probably the way you carry yourself. Like, you probably maintain really good boundaries in general. There is almost a sense though here with this, and I don't get it all the time with Queen of Swords, where she does come off quite cold and distant, sorry, gender neutral. Like, it's not about that. It's really just the, not gender neutral, gender doesn't matter is what I'm trying to say. But it is just a case that maybe you can come off a little bit cold and detached at times. So it's like, just because you have good boundaries doesn't mean you need to drop them, but maybe there are ways that you can maintain your good boundaries and show a little bit of warmth at the same time, if that makes sense. And I think you know how. It's just going to be practicing it or maintaining that. And I guess there's also a sense of like returning to the earth or being down to earth and getting stuck back into your craft and like really finessing it in all the ways that you found it beautiful in the first place. And if it's not like finessing that craft, it's like, I don't know, for some of you it's like building on in your home environment. Maybe it's yeah, I'm not sure. I don't get like a bunch of relationship energy in this. It's just, I really get like work or like monetary possessions or something like that, or just skill building in general. Maybe you have your own business. Yeah, it's just like a need for being more grounded, really. Okay, what have we got next? This here. I'm just hearing like what goes up must come down, and like you'll always be fine. And I'm hearing if you can look through the veil, you might find things that surprise you. And then the other side of it that I'm getting is that life is not all about, you know, those things like the pentacles and the possessions of wealth and like material possessions and whatnot. And they were also highlighting that there's like a beauty in the hard work that goes into these things. And it's like, maybe you initially had that and you embodied it, and that was part of the reason why it was so beautiful. And I get a sense of when you were becoming attached to this outcome or something like that, this is not going to resonate for everyone either, guys. Like, if this, by this point, doesn't sound like it's for you, you can try choosing another pile, or maybe come back at a different time. Okay, where have we got the link here? Okay, I'm just getting a message about trying to stay grounded and seeing the beauty within the mundane. And it's like that appreciation for the journey, not the destination. Ultimately, like whatever you're doing, there's also like that sense of needing to just go with the flow of life. Maybe relinquish like a little bit of control as well. Yeah. And I don't feel like this control is like a massive thing for you in life. For some of you it could be, but for some of you it's like in particular areas where it's like in this area there's a little bit more control exercised here than what you normally would. And I do get a sense here of like wanting to dominate the competition in some way, but it's not, I don't mean it in like a nasty way or anything. I just mean that like, I feel like some of you are really good competitors where it's like you don't necessarily do underhanded stuff and you're not out to get anyone. It's not about other people. It's like maybe you just compete with yourself, but you actually are really good at it, and that you do come out on top and you do dominate the competition without really trying, just by focusing on your work and what you do and being good at it, and you know, what's in your immediate environment and control, I guess. It doesn't feel like it's about people at all. It's just like you're good at what you do, okay? But there's also ways that you can acknowledge that where you still embrace others, okay? There's something else here. Okay, I am getting for some of you that sometimes you feel like this from other people, like you feel like other people may be a little bit cold and detached from you, or I don't know if I want to go as far as saying creating distance, because I don't think it's like that. It's just that maybe they're not coming off particularly warm to you, and you sort of wonder why. And what I'm getting is that it's more of a mirroring happening here, where it's like this person that's being this way to you is almost mirroring you, how you are coming across, which I think is a pretty normal thing that a lot of people do without realizing, right? So I don't think it's like on purpose or anything. Maybe they don't know how to be around you because you are quite confident and you are quite accomplished or something like that. So they actually struggle with knowing how to approach you. Maybe that's what it is, that you just don't come across very approachable. Whether you are or not's like a different story, right? This is like their opinion. So yeah, but it's just like, I guess the end of the day, we don't need to get too caught up in that. We just return back to the work, return back to what it is that we're building, and yeah, working on that. I'm getting something about the seasons. What is it? The seasons for reasons, and there's people and places. There's something more there that I've missed. Come on. Wheel of Fortune. Oh, it was just like there's seasons for reasons, and people's places and faces. Not sure if that means anything to any of you. Ultimately, they're looking at you becoming really grounded in your practice, not losing sight of what is actually important. Yeah, I think you really need to embody, like, letting go of the outcomes and like using that transformation, using transmutation, like being the alchemist, like just doing a lot of work on yourself as well. I wonder if for some of you this has nothing to do with like what I was saying about like that wealth and finances and stuff, or skill building even. I wonder for some of you if this is literally just you working on your health and well-being, but maybe it's more leaning into the physical health. Yeah. The other side of this is that all of these people here, they're highlighting, they're all really wise. Like there may be a child around, but or children around, but there's this, it's basically pointing out, they're saying that you're wise, like you either know better or you know enough, or sorry guys, this message is a little bit muddled and it's kind of hard to trying to link it all up here. I do think some of you may feel tired, although with the amount that you accomplish, I don't know like how you would accomplish any of it if you were tired. There's also a sense here of you being protected and being in tune, and that when you're able to like course correct this stuff, not course correct, when you're able to sort of come back to your like foundations here, then you'll essentially be getting back in touch with yourself and the universe more than what you had been before previously. Yeah. And they're just reminding you to like not be too hard on yourself, or don't take this message as in a you've done the wrong thing or anything like that. It's just like that, the seasons and things changing and the cycles of the world playing out, and it's just like growth and development and learning. And I guess the fact that you've had as much growth as you have in whatever that looks like, is enough to say, like, you know, things like this are going to pop up, right? If you were sitting there doing nothing, then nothing like this would ever pop up because you're not actually growing or developing, okay? So, yeah. I am getting a sense here of if you're able to stay grounded and balance throughout this time, like a good balance between earth and ether, then you'll basically, if it's not like a deep knowing of spirit and the universe that you're coming into contact with, it'll be a deep knowing within yourself of who you are. Yeah. Okay, so that's everything that I have for these cards. I am going to grab a card from the Barbieri Zodiac Oracle. Oh yeah, we got two, cool. So we have Taurus and the Sun. So much earth energy here, hey? Taurus can be really slow moving. It can be a little bit of being stubborn. Can be beautifully nurturing and soft-natured. Taurus can also have a little bit of a focus on the physical realm, liking security and stability. And I feel like that's maybe something that's been driving this whole process. But I do feel in general it's like quite steady. And maybe you are quite grounded as a person, but there's still a need to maintain that and not get too carried away. It's just like really taking your time. I think that's one of the bigger things that are being pointed out to as well here, is that all of this is just going to take time, and the more time that you actually invest in all of it, and you know, spend that quality time doing it, the better it's going to turn out. And the other side of it is too, is that I feel like you're in a state here of action, where you're actually executing things that you like, plans and tasks that you wanted to get done. So it's like, but there's also like a mystical, magical element to it here. So I wonder, it'd be interesting to see what it is that you do. Yeah, feel free to share with us anyway. I'm just getting that you're on the up anyway. So if that's, you know, if a lot of this hasn't played out already, it'll be that mention to just remain down to earth, because I feel like you overall are probably quite down to earth. You don't actually have to be Taurus or have Taurus like heavily in your chart either. It can just be in you. This is the energy that you're embodying at this point in time. So I'm getting the sense of keep up the good work, keep at it, keep investing, you know, yeah, it's like what, keep building. Okay, so that's everything that I've got for the car. Oh no, it's not. There's something else here. Oh, they are saying too that this card is about what he wants to do, and he might not always want to sit there and do the work. Like I was getting the sense of sitting there and slugging away at it. But it is actually going to pay off. It's not like in vain or for nothing. It's not a waste of time or energy. You're actually getting somewhere with it. There is like definite accomplishment there. Okay, cool. So, yeah. Now we'll get a message out of here. Maybe this one. The message that we got is all I do is pray. So I actually wonder if this is just, you know, at the very start of it, you're just praying that it all works out and it all comes to fruition here. Whatever this is, yeah. Okay, that's everything that I have for today's reading, Group 3. Thank you for taking the time to be here with me. I hope that it resonated and was helpful in some way. Thank you for your like, comments, and subscribers. It's all really helpful to the channel. I'll see you in another reading.